What is up, my lovely friends? I've had a good number of requests, people asking for me to do these like Metacritic roundup videos for more games that come out, so I figure I will do that. I don't know, let's do one for Super Mario Bros. Wonder Nintendo Switch 2 Edition plus Meetup in Bellabel Park. And you know what? I have to say, I am surprised here. Like, I really am. I am surprised by the scores that I'm seeing for this game, because ever since they announced it, you know, like, yeah, I'm looking forward to playing the game. It looks fine. It's just not super exciting, you know? Like, and that's been basically, like, the general consensus. You know, there's not a lot of bad you can say about it, but, like, it just kind of seems fine. It's just not, like, super duper exciting. So I really did expect more kind of middling reviews. And I know it is a little hard because, like, when you're judging a Switch 2 edition, like, how do you judge that? Like, how much do you bring in, like, the original game? Because, you know, Mario Bros. Wonder is a really, really great game. So, like, does that lift up the Switch 2 edition? Are you just judging the new content or the entire package? Yeah, I don't know. So I don't envy these reviewers. But anyway, yeah, no, I'm really surprised here. The overall Metacritic is 86, which is rather high. 37 positives, only 8 mixed, and no negatives. And yeah, a lot of hundreds. I don't know if it's just like, is this just a thing where like hundreds are just getting easier? They're just getting easier to give out? Are people like just kind of excited? Is that like the new thing? I don't really know, because 100 is like, it's a perfect score. And I don't know if 100 means like out of 100 or like essentially out of 10. Does it go by increments of 10? But like either way, that's a perfect score. So yeah, let's take a look and see what people are saying. I mean, okay, another thing to consider, I guess, is that like a lot of these I'm not really super duper familiar with. Definitely some of them, but like there are like, what is gryonline.p? I don't know. But there are some in there that I recognize. So yeah, I don't know. Let's just let's start reading them. The very top. Yeah, good handful of hundreds here. Player 2 says, I must admit that I was of the mind that this Switch 2 version of the original release was simply going to be a bit of lip service. A title with a small sprinkling of new content to justify the decision to re-release the game and sell another few million units. Thankfully, I can report that Super Mario Bros. Wonder plus Meetup in Bellabel Park is even better than it was before. It is loaded with fantastic additions to both the core game as well as to its previously quite limited multiplayer suite, and for players both experienced and inexperienced, there is an abundance of additional content to chew on. And I have only skimmed through these reviews so far, but the consensus, and I think a reason why we are getting so many really high scores is because, like I said, the original is such a good game, and it's like close to a perfect game. It's like almost just a flawless Nintendo masterpiece, and it sounds like this really does kind of like fill in the rest of the blanks. You know, it really does kind of perfect the experience, even if there's no one thing about it that's like just absolutely crazy, you know, like extra humongous content. It's just kind of, it's fixing up some of the problems that the original game had and basically making it perfect, because if it was so close to perfect, then yeah, you fix up everything you need to, and it basically is so I don't know. That's kind of what I'm hearing here. It's kind of what it sounds like. But let's just keep reading more. Metro Game Central says, an inessential but enjoyable expansion for the best 2D Mario game of the modern era, with some fun multiplayer distractions and a what is that? What is that character? A C with a little... You got a little... got a little something there. A soup... Okay, hold on. I gotta look it up. The C cedilla is a Latin letter used in languages like French, Portuguese, and Turkish to denote a soft C sound before A, O, or U, replacing the hard... Okay, so it's a soft C. And then, okay, what is it?
Soupçon.
Soupçon. A very small quantity of something. A soupçon of mustard. Perfect. I like that. Soupçon.
Soupçon.
Okay, well, there you go. Soupçon, folks. Anyway, some fun multiplayer distractions and a soupçon of new single-player content. And that is our word of the day. Eurogamer Portugal. Super Mario Bros. Wonder is a Nintendo masterpiece. Capable of delighting players of all ages and even those who don't even play video games, the Bellabel expansion introduces lots of fun content, but I would have loved to have seen more levels to the original experience. Okay, so this really does kind of seem to be basing it more on just the fact that the base game is great. They were even kind of hoping for more, but still gave it a good score. Okay, I mean, I guess that's still pretty good. Gameblog.fr, as refreshing and innovative as ever, Super Mario Bros. Wonder makes a triumphant return on Nintendo Switch 2. The brilliant recipe from 2023 remains intact, enhanced by visual improvements and new bonus content. Players will delight in exploring Bellabel Park, its minigames, and its hidden secrets. Even though this brand new area can only be experienced in multiplayer mode, the single-player adventure remains just as flawless and now boasts additional characters to help out the Flower Kingdom. This new version is aimed primarily at those who have never played the original or at fans who love multiplayer experiences. And that is when we drop down to the 90s. We have 97, ID, I don't know. Super Mario Bros. Wonder is already nearly perfect in its current form, but Nintendo still manages to raise the bar even further. The Switch 2 edition brings genuine Wonder-style energy to the boss battles in the form of the Koopalings, making the more boring encounters with Bowser Jr. stand out less. While you can seriously question whether we really needed yet another batch of multiplayer minigames from Nintendo, the new Bellabel amusement park is charming. The fact that everything now runs wonderfully smoothly in 4K resolution only makes it even more enjoyable. Yeah, and that is another thing that I'm seeing a lot here, is that, like, the multiplayer stuff is fun, Rosaline is fun, but really just fixing the boss battles, because that was basically the single biggest flaw with Wonder, was just, like, you made a near-perfect game, but what happened to the bosses? Like, did you just forget that bosses exist? So, like, and we were even saying, like, yeah, bring in the Koopalings, and they just did exactly that. They brought in the Koopalings, and now the game basically has boss battles, so, like, yeah. I'm seeing a lot of people just be like, that's basically it. That's basically all the game needed. And now it's, like, pretty much perfect. We have a 95 from GameSurf. Super Mario Bros. Wonder is a wonderful game, and it remains just that in this Nintendo Switch 2 edition. The technical upgrade highlights the mastery of Nintendo's designers, finally bringing the delightful art style into full sharpness even on 4K TVs. The new content additions are a fun bonus that push Wonder to the edge of Mario Party territory in the attractions of Bellabel Park, or provide incentives to improve and revisit sections you've already beaten. At its core, however, remains Wonder's elaborate, elegant, and super creative platforming, arguably one of the genre's greatest achievements. Press Start Australia, 95. Meetup in Bellabel Park doesn't reinvent Super Mario Bros. Wonder, but it goes to great lengths to remind you of why it was so special in the first place. The Koopaling battles add some welcome boss variety to the adventure. The training camp offers a much sharper challenge, and Attraction Central is strong enough to earn a permanent spot in your party game rotation. While it remixes more than it transforms, Meetup in Bellabel Park is an easy recommendation, whether you play it solo or with mates. And that is another thing that you hear, you know, the game could have used better boss battles. And then like a smaller complaint is just like, it would have been nice if there were more challenges. And the whole training camp, that I don't know if that is Nintendo, like, directly addressing that criticism by just being like, okay, then what about like a challenge mode? I don't really know if that was their thinking, but it is very possible. And if so, then that does make this even more interesting. They were just like, okay, let's up the whole multiplayer thing, and then let's give them actual boss battles, and then let's give them like a little challenge mode to give them more challenging stuff. I don't know. It's just, I like this thing where they're just kind of like addressing every issue in the update. You know, I kind of talked about that a bit in a recent video. It's not quite the same. It's not a patch, but like, yeah, I don't know. It's just, it's just like ticking every box. It's hitting every point, and that's really neat. Games Machine, between its improved technical performance and the additions to Bellabel Park, the Switch 2 edition feels like the most complete version of a video game masterpiece that, even at launch, seemed unlikely to improve. Yes, only Nintendo can surpass Nintendo. 95 from Vandal, from Nintenderos. Game Informer gave it a 93. Super Mario Bros. Wonder was a joy to play through in 2023, and now, a few years later, it's even better. Nintenduo, an expansion that turns an already massive game into the definitive 2D Super Mario platforming package. The Koopalings in the local co-op and competitive modes shine in their own right, although the multiplayer pacing and the lack of online ambition take away some of that shine. And that is another thing to consider, is that like Super Mario Brothers Wonder being a really great game was notable not just for being a great game, but like we have to remember, this is a mainline 2D Mario. You know, like, this is Nintendo, it's Mario. It's kind of important. It's kind of a big deal. So like, yeah, Nintendo puts out a lot of good games, but when they put out a really, really good 2D like mainline Mario game, that is a big deal. So if you have something that kind of like makes it that much better, I suppose that does make a bit of a bigger splash. We got a few more, a 92, a 91, a 90. My Nintendo News gives it a 90. The Nintendo Switch 2 edition of Super Mario Bros. Wonder proves that even masterpieces can be improved upon, adding worthwhile content to an already premium package without changing what made the game so great in the first place. Whether you're taking down the Koopalings as the lovely Princess Rosalina in thrilling new boss battles, powering your way through the many Toad Brigade training courses, or gathering friends in Attraction Central for hours of competitive and or cooperative fun, the Meetup and Bellabel Park expansion makes Super Mario Bros. Wonder a stellar Switch 2 edition that's worth the upgrade. Yeah, and it's interesting. Yeah, I really do think the fact that the base game is so good, I really do think it's affecting it. Because here, like, yeah, the 6th axis, it's a great upgrade to the original game if you're going to take advantage of the multiplayer modes, but it is far less essential if you're mostly a solo player. There are some nice additions for the main campaign, but the £17 price point feels excessive without party play. So it's a little bit more critical, but still gives it a 90. Still comes to the conclusion that it's just a very good game, you know? Yeah, Screen Hub, 90, 90, it's a lot of 90s. That is a lot of 90s and up. It really is. And then you only just now, with CG Magazine, dip down into 85. Super Mario Bros. Wonder feels truly complete on the Nintendo Switch 2, thanks to new bosses, though the expensive upgrade may not be for everyone. 85 from Checkpoint Gaming, 85 from XGN, 85 from Atomics. Tech Radar, we get down to 80. Super Mario Bros. Wonder Nintendo Switch 2 Edition plus Meetup in Bellabel Park is the definitive way to play the greatest 2D Mario game in a generation. With revamped visuals, entertaining new boss battles, and an assist mode for younger players, there's a lot to love here. The new multiplayer minigames are, admittedly, a bit hit and miss, and some single-player content, like decorating Bellabel Park, may not entice owners of the Switch original to upgrade, but still, this is a strong overall package and a must-buy for those who have never played Super Mario Bros. Wonder before. Screen Rant, Super Mario Bros. Wonder is still worth playing. Well put. Let's read that. Definitely read the IGN. Super Mario Bros. Wonder, blah, 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 should be the blueprint moving forward for these enhanced re-releases. Really. It sands off the rough edges of the original version while adding a fantastic lineup of boss battles, in-game challenges, and cooperative levels that each make use of Wonder's excellent platforming in entirely different ways. The local and competitive, online competitive minigames are pretty bland, and I wish it had gone just a bit further in getting the most out of its exciting new dual badge idea. But the rest of this expansion is so polished and inspired that it more than makes up for any shortcomings. Whether you're planning to revisit Super Mario Bros. Wonder or pick it up for the first time, the Nintendo Switch 2 Edition is clearly the definitive way to play. So here we get a much more modest score. Still very, very good, you know, admitting that there are some weaknesses. Yeah, the online stuff is just not as great as it could be, and then yeah, getting the most out of the dual badge idea. They could have done more, but it's still, you know, it's still a recommend, a hearty recommend. Still a very good experience overall. Let's get down and see, like, it's getting mixed. We got some mixed scores here. 70 from Console Creatures. Super Mario Bros. Wonder is a fine offering from Nintendo, but it's another Switch 2 title offering an upgrade with not enough substance. So they felt that it was not really worth it. Pocket Tactics, also a 70. It's a tale of two halves. I had a blast with the new single-player content, taking my time to trounce the Koopalings one by one, but the multiplayer element falls a bit flat in terms of replayability and variety. GameSpot, altogether, Super Mario... each time I start reading it before I realize I should skip over it. Gets my qualified recommendation if you're primarily interested in single-player Mario platforming, and especially if you've already played through the Mario Wonder campaign. This upgrade gets you a fun but short series of creative Koopaling boss fight stages, a bunch of challenge stages, an additional power-up, and new build options thanks to the dual badges. Those are all nice to have, but they don't offer a lot of playtime in isolation. For those of us who have a household full of Mario fans to play with, or if you want to go online, it's a rollicking good time full of chaotic multiplayer action. This isn't quite what I expected out of a Switch 2 upgrade for Mario Wonder, but like the core game's Wonder effects, it kept finding ways to surprise me. So there's just there's not really a ton of variety in the reviews. Even when the numbers vary, the consensus is about the same. It almost just kind of comes, it's almost like everyone agrees. It's just like everyone just kind of disagrees how you score it based on those feelings. You know what I mean? It's kind of funny. They're still saying the same thing, but some of them are hundreds and some are 70s. Nintendo Insider. All in all, it's an entertaining addition to what was already an excellent adventure. While it's not the new Super Luigi U-sized expansion many were likely hoping, it manages to deliver just enough meat to chew on, both for platforming challenge seekers and group-based shenanigans. And then, yeah, I mean, the lowest ones we have are just a couple of 60s. Yeah, pretty surprised to see Nintendo Life, at the very bottom here. Again, not because I think they're, biased positively. It's just that, if you're gonna find someone who's, so enthusiastic about Nintendo, they're gonna, really appreciate a release like this, you'd think it would be Nintendo Life. And yet, I don't know, they were on the more disappointed side. 60's pretty low. Or, again, they probably mostly agree, but they just, the way that they score the game. Maybe they're scoring it more based on the new content and not necessarily on the whole package. But I don't know, we'll read it. We'll make this our last one. Nintendo Life says, game is a mixed bag. On the one hand, we have an opportunity to replay Mario's best 2D adventure in years with some minuscule single-player adjustments and extra boss fights. It remains a joy from start to finish. On the other, we have all the new multiplayer content, which are perfectly fine on their own, but feel out of place sandwiched between the base game's platforming and the Mario Party vibes they're clearly aiming for. Content, which are, using content as the plural. That makes sense. It should be plural, but the way I see it, it's more like content, like water. I gotta look up the grammar. I'm not gonna do it right now. We'll do that later. That's just interesting, yeah. The content, which are perfectly... yeah, I would have said which is That's interesting. I'm really... Sorry. Grammar is fascinating. Anyway, if you've never played Wonder before, or if you've been itching for a replay, this is a great excuse, but don't expect to be slotting any of the multiplayer extras into your game night rotation. Rosalina aside, the additions here are inoffensive, but underwhelming. If you got your fill of Wonder on Switch 1, you're not missing much sitting out this particular Switch 2 edition. So yeah, no, I actually was a lot more critical than the other ones. They feel that it's just, even at its best, it's just not that much. Minuscule single-player adjustments, so even with the extra boss fights and stuff, they just feel like it's not that big of an upgrade. Which is fair. I get it. And then we have a few that were, these are ones that do not usually give scores. Oh yeah, I like to check out, let's check out at least Polygon. And we'll try to guess. We'll try to guess what score they would give. If you never got around to Super Mario Bros. Wonder before, Bellabel Park is an essential purchase. As an upgrade, it's almost deliberately inessential. A large tray, I love that. A large tray laden with soufflés, amuse-bouches, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, and bonbons to set alongside Wonder's hearty meal. They won't fill you up or make the main course taste any better, but they sure look irresistible. So solid. I'm gonna give that a 85. I think that would be an 85. So yeah, mostly people saying the same thing. The consensus is yeah, pretty much across the board. It's just kind of it's pretty good. It's pretty good. The reason it is so good is because the original game is so good. Otherwise, it's not essential, but definitely good. So I still am surprised. I think I still am surprised that the scores are so high. But yeah, must just be because Wonder is so good. So yeah, so that's that. Hope you enjoyed this. Yeah, no, if people like, yeah, I only did the Metacritic stuff for games that I was well, really looking forward to. But if people like this just for any old game, I don't know, yeah, I'll do this. It's fun. it's a fun thing to do, a fun activity. So yeah, I don't know. Let me know in the comments and stuff if this is the kind of content that you enjoy.